Hello everybody, Jordan here. The PH is silent. Mixing it up a bit, instead of geography or Forgotten Realms civilization, I'd like to talk about a villain, Larlock the Shadow King. Larlock is a lich from the time of the Netheril. He was a human male and former sorcerer king of the Netherese enclave Jixeter, something like that. For those of you new to the channel, the Netherese were an ancient human magical society that fell due to an event known as Karsus's Folly. More info on that can be found in 2 of my videos, links in the doobly-doo. Larlock escaped the fall of the Netherese empire that occurred. Although his enclave of Jixeter was destroyed, Larlock lived on. Well, lived is a relative term. He unlived by becoming a lich at some point in his early history and is considered today one of the oldest non-draconic beings in Faerun. He is also one of the most powerful mages within the Forgotten Realms. Larlock is heavily tied to an ancient artifact known as the Death Moon Orb. The Death Moon Orb has great power to charm and mentally control others. It was created by Larlock as a device to control members of his court and to spy on his enemies, as it acted like a crystal ball with the powers of ESP and clairvoyance. This artifact worked. Larlock ruled for many years, gaining power and influence over his subjects and enemies. With the orb, he was also able to summon fiends and devils to do his bidding for specific tasks once every 10 days. Larlock is considered to be nearly 2,000 years old. Most believe him to be born around -628 DR, but nobody is 100% certain. It was after creating the Death Moon Orb that he started to undergo the magical transformation into a lich. Using a contingency spell, he was able to warn himself of the impending doom known as Karsus's Folly. Karsus's Folly was imminent, but Larlock foresaw this event just briefly and fled his floating enclave on a dragon. Soon after, all magic failed and the Netherese floating cities fell from the sky, destroying their empire of magic. This occurred in -339 DR, and Jixeter fell into the region of the Narfell. Ancient people from Narfell raided the ruins of the enclave, seeking out magical items. The remains of Jixeter became known as the Mountain of Hark's Finger. Somehow the red wizard Zulkir Zastam obtained an amount of these artifacts from Larlock's floating enclave. He would frequently talk with Larlock and trade these relics for information and other favors. It was after the fall of the Netheril that Larlock discovered the ruins of Orbidal, which was a low Netheril city. He took this location for his own, and it became known as Larlock's Crypt. This location became corrupted through conversation, and people started referring to it as Warlock's Crypt. It is here the mighty lich Larlock lives with his horde of undead. Many adventurers have assaulted the crypt, and some even claim to have destroyed Larlock, but Larlock always seems to reappear within the city of wraiths, rights, liches, vampires, and lesser undead. It is said that the Red Wizards of Thay, 16 of them specifically, went into Larlock's crypt to destroy him and steal some of his magical power. All failed, and the only one to ever survive was Zastam. This location is also known as the Shadow Ring because of the architecture. It's a series of wizard towers standing in a circular walled garden. The towers stand on the banks of a small spring that rises in the cellars of the highest tower, which is Larlock's own tower. The walled gardens are surrounded by a gloomy network of twisted streets and abandoned houses. It is here that lesser undead shuffle about, attempting to follow whatever orders Larlock has given. Larlock hates being called the Warlock or the Warlock King through a misinterpretation of his name. He is a powerful arcanist and lich. Those who speak of him should fear and respect him. Larlock has a collection of liches that follow and serve him. Raugalaith, the Ageless One, was one such lich arcanist that inhabited Warlock's crypt back when it was still known as Orbidal. Larlock and him fought when Larlock came into the city and took it as his own. Larlock won, and Raugalaith was reduced to eternal servitude under his new master. He collected other liches to his side and various other forms of undead creatures. I believe the Death Moon Orb went to Zastam. Either he collected it from the ruins of Larlock's fallen enclave, or it was traded to him by Larlock. I'm not sure which, but Larlock and Zas have an understanding, or an alliance of sorts. Larlock gives Zas several powerful magical items and artifacts, granting him the ability to control Thay and the demon Eltab. In exchange, Zas has given Larlock several treasures from former Netherese enclaves. Larlock gained the title Shadow King around the Sword Coast. He has an array of magical wards and defenses, including a bestow curse effect if he is ever touched. This materializes as a green energy that moves around his body. Being so old, his body is mostly gone, and he is essentially a walking skeleton at this point. He has at least 24 iron stones that are floating around his head. He is an incredible genius, but over the years has become mad, his mind being affected by his extreme age. During the spell plague, he attempted to create blue flame magic items, which had spirits trapped within them. Part of the goddess mistress power was bound to these items, and it was believed that Larlock may have aided the return of Mystra by preserving her through these blue flame items. Larlock can be found in the novel The Herald, starring Elminster and crew, so if you're interested in him, check out that novel. Larlock is your epic megavillain. He could be pulling the strings on smaller enemies until your PCs are ready to fight such a powerful Lich. Perhaps you want to run an evil campaign where you work for Larlock, fetching him blue flame magic items in a campaign set during the spell plague. There's a list of known blue flame magic items, but I think it would be more clever to craft some sentient weapons and artifacts for your PCs to use in battle. Thanks for watching, everyone. Special thanks to my patrons on Patreon that keep these videos going. If you'd like to become a patron, please click the link in the description. Thanks for sharing these videos with your gaming group, for liking and subscribing. I'll see you all in the next video.